Let's move on now, because in another case of lefty council activism on steroids, a Western Sydney council has been accused of attempting to implement a treaty by default under a proposed partnership agreement with local Aboriginal owners.
The Cumberland City Councillor Steve Christou has accused the Labor-dominated council of ignoring local residents, 64% of whom he says voted no in the Voice referendum. Now, however, the council is attempting to force through an agreement with the local Aboriginal Land Council.
This proposal is absolutely horrendous. It's a comprehensive document prepared by lawyers. It states from the outset it is a treaty upon the Uluru Statement. It goes on to say that we acknowledge as a council that the land we're on was never ceded and never handed over to us, and we're on stolen land. It further goes on to put procurement measures, employment measures, interfere in what kind of contracts we can take place, go out to say where we can name landscapes, consultations on developments, demands that new namings of places be after Aboriginal people, demands of existing places now have dual names. Like, how much money is this going to cost the ratepayer? Not to mention all the other draconian demands from essentially a group that is 0.64% of the population in Cumberland.
And joining us now is former Deputy Prime Minister and current Nationals MP, Barnaby Joyce. Barnaby, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us on the show this evening.
Well, I was in town, so I thought I'd pop in.
Just casually pop in. We do appreciate it. Look, this is...
Walking past your door.
No, exactly, casually walking past. Now, look, this is extraordinary because we've got states already trying to push treaties. Now we've got a council by default. Don't they remember that 60% of us voted no to the Voice?
Isn't it amazing when we actually get a chance to have a vote for, whether we're going to have one flag or three, and, that whether we have to announce before basically every second breath that welcome to country. When we actually get a vote, people's views are completely different to what bureaucrats and to what the enlightened like to force on us. Even in South Australia, where they had a vote amongst Aboriginal people about whether they wanted a treaty, it's only 10% of Aboriginal people voted. And I think the person with the highest vote got 100 votes.
And they said it was a success.
And they said that was a roaring success. So what you are seeing here is the views of a certain clique of people who then believe that they try and usurp a sort of a general morality that they claim that they are endowed with the understanding of, and then they foist it on us. And it's completely against the wishes of the people who they're supposed to represent. I mean, these are the same people who have motions on Palestine and a whole range of other sort of things that got nothing to do with picking up someone's rubbish, fixing the potholes, finding lost cats.
The draft report prepared by the Cumberland Council, they actually called it a peace treaty. Do you think the people of Cumberland would be surprised to know they're at war with each other?
Well, who was the generals that fought in this war? Like, I just always, this is another thing where they, for instance, at the War Memorial, they try to talk about frontier wars. There was no person ever in an Australian uniform, and there was no general who was ordered out to fight an Aboriginal army. There was not one person in an Australian uniform who ever engaged in a battle against the Aboriginal people. There were certainly massacres, 100%. There were certainly horrid incidents, but there was no war.
Yeah.
But that doesn't suit them. So they've got to say, oh, no, there was a war. And you say, but that's just not the truth. It's just not the facts. And they go, no, we've made it the facts. It's the facts from this point forward. And it's what's happening all the time in politics. We're fighting this sort of, this action against people who assume this high morality. And then when you argue against them, they say, well, because you argue against me, you must be immoral, you must be a lesser person.
Correct.
You're not a believer, you're a denier.
Yeah.